Has the LEGO Town and LEGO City theme really stood the test of time? Welcome to the first in a series of videos where we're going to travel through time and dive deep into the history of LEGO Town, LEGO City and City, and we'll find out if it's as essential to the LEGO brand now as it was half a century ago. If you've been watching my recent reviews, you'll know that LEGO Town was a massive part of my childhood in the early 1970s and 80s. It's been a mainstay of the LEGO lineup for 50 years, and while it's had some ups and downs in creativity, I'm still a massive fan. So buckle up your seatbelts because we're about to start a journey into the foundations of what makes LEGO towns and cities hum. I'm Lord Paul, and this is Lord Paul's Bricks. Hey Brick fans, if this is your first time here, welcome to the channel. And for my returning viewers, welcome back. The story of LEGO Town can be traced all the way back to the 1950s. We'll be looking at the early days of LEGO's system of play and how it evolved into the LEGOLAND theme in 1969. Then, in the early 70s, we saw a glimpse of the future with brick-built vehicles, but something was still missing. In 1975, LEGO tried to fix that with their first attempts at a minifigure, but it wasn't until 1978 that we got the classic, now truly iconic minifigure. A little guy that took playability to a whole new dimension and laid the groundwork for the LEGO City sets we see today. If you're loving what you see, please remember to give this video a like. It helps get the word out about the wonderful world of LEGO Town and City, and it's a huge help to me. This is just part one of a series we're going to get into the nitty-gritty of LEGO Town and City. So make sure you hit that subscribe button with notifications on so you'll be the first to know when the next video lands. As always, your comments and feedback are gold to me. You never know, your suggestion might inspire a future video. You know, while I was preparing this video, I was trying to figure out why I've been so drawn to LEGO Town and City for all of these years, and I think it comes down to a few key points. First, the sets I got as a kid were almost all LEGO Town. I'm sure any psychologists in the audience would agree that what happens to you around the age 10, 11 can be highly influential in shaping your interests in later years. So maybe I'm just forever stuck in the 1980s. Second, I'm a bit of a stickler for order and structure. The LEGO Town delivered that better than the other big themes of the time, which were space and castle. With those iconic road plates, I could build a town and all the buildings were connected and it just all felt so perfectly organised. And finally, I think the sheer relatability of the theme was what hooked me. It was the present day. It was the world I saw around me. I could be a benevolent ruler of my very own LEGO Town empire. Whatever it is, I've loved over 40 years of LEGO Town and City, and I'm really excited to be able to share this passion with all of you today. Back in the 1950s and early 60s, LEGO was all about its system of play. And a huge part of that was the town plan theme. These sets were designed to be used with a large layout board that had roads printed on it. You could not just get buildings, but also street signs and trees to create your own bustling little towns. The vehicles were a far cry from today's brick-built wonders because they were simple, moulded plastic vehicles. But for the time, they were pure genius and no doubt offered loads of play opportunities. Throughout the 1960s, this system of play grew with more vehicles and buildings, and you can see a clear effort LEGO was making to create a cohesive, real-world town that you could build yourself. This creative push laid the groundwork for what came next. In 1969, the LEGOLAND theme was introduced. In the early 1970s, under the LEGOLAND theme, the blueprint for the future LEGO Town was starting to take shape. We got our first look at the mainstays of LEGO City: police, fire, airports, and a huge fleet of vehicles. The fully moulded cars were gone, replaced with brick-built vehicles that were bigger and more complex. For LEGO, global sales were skyrocketing, and yet they were still missing one key ingredient, and I'm sure you can guess what that was. From 1975 to 1977, LEGO took its first shot at adding that vital ingredient: people. They introduced the pre-minifigure figures that the fandom affectionately calls stiffies, statues, or pre-fig minifigs. They were a major step forward for playability and ended up and opened up a world of new possibilities for town-related sets. This period was the precursor to a complete revitalisation of the LEGO brand. In 1977, the then CEO, Kjeld Kirk Christensen, pushed the new strategy to create what he called a system within a system. This led to a reimagining of the LEGOLAND line in 1978 with the introduction of new themes representing past, present and future, and that was castle, town and space. With the sets making use of the newly created minifigure as scale, the sets encouraged imaginative play, and with the expanded train theme coming in 1980 and intersecting perfectly with town, it seemed that only the sky was the limit to what could be achieved with a brilliant range of sets. Since I mentioned them, the first modern minifigures were designed by LEGO legend Jens Nygaard Knudsen. The idea was to have interchangeable torsos, legs and arms. The company decided to give them a simple, universal facial expression, 2 dots for eyes and a smile, so they wouldn't have a specific gender or race. The belief was that these characteristics would be determined by the child's imagination and play. The arms incorporated clips as hands, which allowed the minifigures to hold a wide range of utensils and tools. With a number nudging 5 billion, that's billion with a B, minifigures having been produced, the revolutionary design of the minifigure is arguably one of the most successful toy designs in history and has become synonymous with LEGO. 1978 is widely considered the first year of the classic LEGOLAND Town. That year alone saw 30 new town sets. Those original sets introduced the core services that are still with us today: police, firefighting, medical, construction, and plenty of civilian vehicles. My follow-up videos to this overview will be a deep dive into each of these core services, so make sure you stay tuned to the channel and be first to see them when they're published. From 1978 to 1990, we saw what many fans consider the classic era. These sets had a simpler, more blocky design and used a lot of basic bricks. Early on, the colour palette was limited to mostly black, white, red, blue and yellow. But even with those constraints, the sets were incredibly fun and engaging. Early vehicles did not allow the minifigure to be seated in the vehicles, and some vehicles very early on didn't get a minifigure at all. One of the cleverest things LEGO did, I think, was to include ideas for how to lay out a small town right in the instructions, encouraging you to combine sets and create your own world, along with the use of alternative builds with many models many models allowed for a new combination every day. Under the umbrella branding of LEGOLAND, the themes of town, space and castle all featured a homogenized blue and yellow branding in place of the previous white and black package designs. That blue still continues today with the LEGO City sets. Throughout the 1980s, the theme got better and better. Each new wave brought a fresh variety of vehicles and buildings to keep your town growing. We got post office, we got houses, we got airports, we got restaurants, and so many great civic vehicles. One bunch of sets which were interesting were the fire stations, starting with 6382 in 1981, then 6385 in 1985, and then 6389 in 1990, which were a simple evolution of the previous set, but still looked fresh. But let's not forget some of the absolute legends of the era, like the massive 6394 Metro Park and Service Tower, the glorious 6399 Airport Shuttle Monorail, and that sleek 6395 Victory Lap Raceway. In 1991, the LEGOLAND branding was officially retired, and our town sets became simply LEGO Town under the broader system theme, a name that would stick to until 1998. The period saw a major shift. The sets became more specialised, with a much wider palette of parts and colours, and way more detailed minifigure designs. One of the most notable sub-themes was Paradisa, which ran from 1992 to 1997. It was full of beautiful pink and turquoise bricks, and it completely revolutionised the design of the female minifigures. With a focus on leisure and vacation, the theme was all about beaches, surfing, horseback riding and other adventures. And it was LEGO's first attempt since the 1980s to specifically target the girls market. The sub-themes of LEGO Town expanded far beyond a simple small town. We saw sets focused on motor racing, adventures, and the continuation of the classic emergency vehicles. From 1991 to 1996, the police, fire, and Coast Guard sets were all still popular, but you could tell that the creativity was starting to stall. There wasn't a lot of innovation or new pieces. After being first released in 1987, Flight was a town sub-theme based on planes and helicopters. It was reprised in 1991 and final sets introduced in 1996. It was within this theme that the legendary set 6399 Airport Shuttle appeared in 1990. Other notable sets include the 6346 Shuttle Launching Crew and the brilliant 6597 Century Skyway. The classic LEGO space theme was a science fiction theme set in the future, but in the 1990s, there was a LEGO City sub-theme known as Launch Command, released in 1995 and went through to 1997. This theme centered around modern-day spaceflight and portrays contemporary technology like space shuttles. It comprised a launch pad, ground crew, a transport jet, and a lunar rover. The follow-up theme released in 1999 was known as Spaceport. This theme had a greater number of sets than Space Command, but similar sort of range of sets. Other sub-themes included Divers, Arctic, and Outback, sets supposedly based on the Australian Outback. By the late 1990s, the LEGO Group was heading into what fandom now refers to as the dark age of LEGO. Looking back at the sets from this period, it's clear that creativity had hit a massive roadblock. Successful themes like Paradisa and Flight were discontinued and no clear replacements. The sets released in the late 90s became known as Town Junior, a fan name that perfectly describes them. They were aimed at a much younger audience with highly simplified builds and larger, less specialised pieces. The focus shifted away from the adult fans who had grown up with the brand, and many just drifted away. City Centre was released in 1999, and the line of sets does not deserve a huge amount of focus. The creativity that was lost with Town Junior was not regained with the theme of City Centre. When City Centre was discontinued in 2002, there was a brief period there where there was no LEGO Town theme at all. And for me, it's almost unbelievable that LEGO would abandon what seemed like such a core part of their brand. This hiatus was short-lived, however, and the next city theme, World City, was released in 2003. This theme was a clear step up. The sets were more complex and action-oriented, with a heavy focus on police, fire, and Coast Guard. There were no houses, construction, or general sets, but trains were brought under the World City theme name. Up to this point, trains had been a separate theme to Town, and with World City, it was the first time trains were included under the Town umbrella theme. It was also during this time that 6-stud wide vehicles became the standard. Up until this point, most vehicles were 4 studs wide. While I'm a big fan of the classic 4-stud vehicles, the move to 6-wide vehicles opened up so many opportunities for more detailed and realistic vehicles, especially for bigger builds like trucks and fire engines. In 2005, World City was renamed simply City, the name we know and love today. So I'm going to leave it there for today and save the next evolution of Town for the next video. If you've enjoyed part 1 of my Town history, please remember to give it a like below. It helps get the word out about the brilliant Town and LEGO City and City. The next video in the series is the 2005 launch of the City theme, so make sure you hit that subscribe button with notifications so you know when that lands. Of course, any comments or feedback are appreciated. You never know, your suggestion might be included in a future video. So thanks for watching, and I look forward to seeing you with part 2 in my series of LEGO Town and City. I'm Lord Paul, and this is Lord Paul's Bricks, and bye for now.